is out. Oh, that's sand. We are moving along to Blaye this afternoon. B-L-A-Y-E. I think it's about an hour, hour and a half journey. And there is a walking tour of Blaye this afternoon. There is one of those fishing nets which I refer to as Portuguese fishing nets in Cochin, India. You just would lower them into the water. And there is Blaye with all its fortifications. Because of the rain, the metal is so slippery, you would not believe it. This estuary was a very important way in from the Atlantic Ocean. We're not that far away from the Atlantic here. The real Vikings even came this way. Some military. It was built by the request of Louis XIV. The fortress looks like a star from above. So it's one of those star-shaped citadels. This was the first part that was built, I think she said 1639. There were two entrances. The boat of the estuary. It's the largest estuary in Europe. The Gironde stretches from the Atlantic to Bec d'Ambez, confluence of the Dordogne and Garonne.
Here. And we are no longer fighting yet, with arrow, but we could talk about being resistible to another bastion on the right. Do you know this?
You have to remember they were not using arrows when this was built. They were using cannon and stones, rocks.
Oh yes, today we're not going to talk about very nice subjects. It's because there is a door that leads to the underground. So again,
the door leads to the underground so they can surface can move safely around. The Messacolini, it's called the murder hole.
It's a complicated affair because the Citadel since 2008 is UNESCO World Heritage Site. So it is part of the community of Blaye, of course, of the National Fund of the Republic. But if you're asking me who's taking care of UNESCO, an organization we call the TRAC.
All these little towns are excellently described with information. You can easily do it on your own. Look how beautiful. I like that. The first ever furnished holiday rental in the Citadel. That was a prison for the local population, not the soldiers. It was too small. And they turned it into a bakery. The iron rings are for your horse. And that's a royal gate. That is the old city gate. All the symbols of royalty were removed during the French Revolution. By the way, there's a big storm coming in from the Atlantic. It's supposed to rain the next couple days. It's starting to rain again. This is what remains of the Chateau de Rondelle. You can see where they use the cannons. The castle called Chateau de Rondelle was mostly built from the 12th to the 14th centuries. It was Blaye's promontory was already a major military outpost, needing to be well guarded. The residence of the Lords of Blaye owes its name to the first owners, Geoffrey Rudel, called the Prince of Blaye. He was one of the first troubadours. According to legend, he died in the arms of Princess Melisande, Countess of Tripoli. There were towers, but during the 1814 siege by the English, the military authorities decided to razz the tops of the towers because they were thought to interfere with artillery. Madame du Barry. Not Madame Dubarry, but this is Madame Dubarry, a duchess.
Foreigners don't realize that in France we have more over.
In 1833, she couldn't hide the fact she was pregnant, and on request from Louis Philippe, she gave birth in front of witnesses, but the baby only lived for 6 months.
That's not a historical fact.
This is where the simple soldiers were housed, and there were 2 people to 1 bed. So either you had to take turns or else you made do. Below is the grape that's used for the wines. Sister Anne, do you see anything coming? This was the lavatory for the soldiers.
Ones are not from the Citadel, they come from the...
These come from the Navy base. There's a cannonball still stuck in there. There are approximately 200 German vessels that they mined and blew up into the river when they realized they lost the war. It's even called the route of the powder.
Powder. And without gunpowder, you don't have cannons, of course.
This building is where they stored the gunpowder. The steep roof was just in case a cannon hit it.
There's I almost said it in for all things, a weed there that somebody should pull out.
Hidden fountain. Where is it? That was military.
Yeah, it was.
All right. This is what I like when there's a chance that you can just walk around on your own.
So,
Look there on the hedges. Bienvenue.
Bienvenue
This
on
to the Citadel. Interesting Blaye.